Right now, the used motorcycle market is full of bikes that look like great deals, but most of them aren't. Today, we're breaking down the 10 cheapest reliable Japanese motorcycles you can actually buy right now, backed by real prices and proven engines. Because if you don't know which models truly last, you're not saving money, you're setting yourself up to overpay for something that won't hold up. And one of these bikes completely flips that equation by the end. Number 10, Yamaha MT-03. At the start of this countdown sits the Yamaha MT-03, a machine that proves reliability doesn't have to come at the cost of enjoyment. The MT-03 earns its place here by doing something very few budget motorcycles truly achieve. It delivers durability that feels almost effortless. At the center is a 321 cubic centimeter, liquid-cooled, dual overhead cam parallel twin. That layout changes everything. Instead of the sharp pulses and constant vibration you get from many single-cylinder bikes in this range, the MT-03 runs with a steady, controlled rhythm. Power builds smoothly, throttle response stays predictable, and the engine rarely feels like it is working harder than it should. That mechanical ease is what keeps components lasting longer over time. In real ownership, the numbers reinforce the story. Clean used examples typically trade between roughly $3,000 and $4,300. That puts it in direct competition with machines like the KTM 390 Duke, which may feel sharper on paper, but often demand more attention, more maintenance, and a more committed riding style. If this is exactly what you've been looking for, real bikes, real prices, and no guesswork, hit that like button, drop a hype in the comments, and subscribe, because that's what pushes us to keep finding the machines that actually save you money, not drain it. The MT-03 takes a different approach. It stays composed, it stays manageable, and most importantly, it stays consistent. Because in the long run, a motorcycle that feels easy to live with is usually the one that actually lasts. But simplicity and smoothness are only one way to achieve reliability. The next motorcycle takes a completely different path, proving that durability can also come from being built to handle conditions this bike was never meant to see. Number 9, Honda CRF 250L. Most motorcycles force a decision: stay on the street or leave the pavement behind. The Honda CRF 250L quietly ignores that choice, offering a kind of versatility that feels far more useful than impressive. At its core is a 249 cubic centimeter, liquid-cooled, single-cylinder engine. On paper, the output looks modest. In practice, that restraint is exactly why it lasts. The tuning favors low-stress operation, steady heat control, and predictable throttle response. Whether you are navigating city traffic, uneven back roads, or loose dirt, the engine never feels rushed or overworked. In fact, this kind of simplicity is a big part of why bikes like this outlast more aggressive setups. But as we'll see later, there are machines that manage to keep that reliability while adding a completely different level of refinement. Ownership tells the real story. Clean used examples typically land between roughly $3,200 and $4,500, which puts it against machines like the Yamaha WR250R, which may deliver sharper performance, but often demand more maintenance and higher upfront cost. The CRF 250L takes a simpler route. It asks less from its components, and in return, it gives more over time. But versatility isn't the only way to stretch a budget, and that's exactly where the next machine changes the direction, focusing less on where you ride and more on how much performance you can extract from every dollar. Number 8, Kawasaki Ninja 300. Affordable motorcycles are rarely associated with true sport bike character. Fairings, aggressive styling, and high revving engines usually come with higher costs and higher expectations. The Kawasaki Ninja 300 quietly disrupted that pattern by making performance feel accessible without becoming expensive to own. Beneath the bodywork sits a 296 cubic centimeter, liquid-cooled, parallel twin. That configuration delivers smooth, consistent power rather than harsh, peaky bursts. The engine pulls cleanly through the rev range, stays composed at highway speeds, and avoids the constant vibration that smaller single-cylinder sport bikes often struggle with. It feels balanced, not demanding. On the used market, the value becomes difficult to ignore. Clean examples typically trade between roughly $3,500 and $4,200. That places it well below newer alternatives like the Kawasaki Ninja 400, which offers more performance, but at a noticeably higher cost. We've just looked at small displacement bikes that are cheap to own, but come with different trade-offs. So now I want to hear from you. Have you ever outgrown a smaller engine faster than you expected? Or did it actually hold up long-term for you? Drop your experience in the comments because your input helps other riders avoid buying twice. The Ninja 300 shows how far a small, affordable engine can go in terms of reliability and usability, but for many riders, it eventually exposes a different limitation. Not durability, but depth, because the performance ceiling comes quickly once confidence grows. And that's exactly what drives riders toward the next step forward, a Japanese machine with a much longer proven engine platform that adds real torque, stronger character, and the kind of longevity riders stick with for years. Number 7, Suzuki SV650. At this point, the conversation shifts. We are no longer talking about entry-level machines. We are stepping into something with real presence. The Suzuki SV650 has earned its reputation not through hype, but through years of consistent, dependable performance. At its core is a 645 cubic centimeter, 90-degree V-twin. That layout delivers a completely different experience. Torque arrives early, builds smoothly, and carries through the mid-range where most real-world riding happens. It feels strong without being overwhelming, responsive without becoming unpredictable. That balance is what keeps both the rider and the engine comfortable over time. On the used market, the value becomes undeniable. Clean examples typically range between roughly $4,800 and $7,500. That places it well below newer rivals like the Yamaha MT-07, which may offer updated features, but at a noticeably higher cost. The SV650 succeeds because it does not try to impress in short bursts. It delivers steady, usable performance that holds up year after year. But its aging design and old-school feel can become a drawback for riders who want something more refined and modern in both delivery and comfort. That gap is what moves the spotlight to the next machine. A newer generation, Japanese middleweight designed to smooth out those rough edges while still keeping ownership affordable and dependable. Number 6, Kawasaki Ninja 650. There comes a point where a motorcycle stops trying to specialize and starts trying to fit your life. This is that point. The Ninja 650 is not built to chase extremes. It is built to cover ground day after day without wearing you down. At its core sits a 649 cubic centimeter liquid, cooled parallel twin, tuned to deliver power in a calm, predictable way. It pulls cleanly onto the highway, settles into a steady rhythm, and never feels like it is being pushed beyond its comfort zone. That is what makes it last. Used examples typically trade between roughly $4,500 and $7,000 across Cycle Trader and dealer listings. That puts it just slightly above smaller bikes, but in an entirely different class of capability. Now place it next to sharper machines like the Yamaha YZF-R7 or Aprilia RS660. They demand more focus, more money, more commitment. This Kawasaki does not. It stays comfortable, consistent, and easy to live with. But its sport-oriented layout and riding posture won't suit everyone, especially riders who prioritize comfort, confidence, and ease over performance styling. That shift in buyer mindset is what leads directly to the next direction. A Japanese motorcycle built to lower the barrier of entry, simplify control, and deliver the same trusted reliability in a far more relaxed and accessible form. Number 5, Honda Rebel 500. Not every rider is looking for speed. Some are looking for something that feels right the moment they sit down, low, relaxed, and easy to trust. That is exactly where the Rebel 500 finds its purpose. At its core is a 471 cubic centimeter parallel twin shared with Honda's broader 500 lineup. But here, it is not chasing performance. It is reshaped for calm, steady pull, delivering torque early, and keeping the ride smooth without asking for effort. That character changes everything. The market data is clear. 2017 to 2019 models bottom out between $3,500 and $4,200. For 2020 plus updates like LED lighting and the slipper clutch, expect to pay $5,200 to $6,400. With a clean mid-mileage average of $5,400, this level of refinement is remarkably accessible. Now compare it to something like the Harley-Davidson Iron 883. More presence, more weight, but also more cost and more demand from the rider. The Rebel takes a lighter approach, lower seat height, manageable weight, and fuel economy that stays easy on your wallet. It is the kind of machine you ride often, not occasionally. Because ownership here is not about image. It is about comfort that lasts. But that comfort comes with a trade-off in capability because it is built strictly for the street and leaves no room for riders who want durability beyond paved roads. That limitation is exactly what shifts the focus to the next machine. A Japanese single-cylinder built with far fewer compromises, designed to take abuse, simplify repairs, and deliver long-term reliability in environments where softer bikes fall short. Number 4, Suzuki DR650. At this level, reliability stops being a feature and becomes the entire purpose of the machine. The Suzuki DR650 was not built to impress in a showroom. It was built to keep moving when conditions stop being comfortable. At its core sits a 644 cubic centimeter, air and oil-cooled single-cylinder. No radiators to damage, no complex electronics to diagnose, no unnecessary systems adding points of failure. Power delivery is steady, torque arrives low, and the engine operates at a pace that prioritizes longevity over excitement. It feels deliberate, almost stubborn in how it refuses to be stressed. The market data reveals a remarkably flat depreciation curve. Because the DR650 has not changed mechanically in decades, a 2009 model with 7,000 miles still commands $3,000, while a near-new 2024 unit sits at $7,000. With the 2026 MSRP hovering around $7,300, the used market offers a simple choice: save a few thousand on a proven machine, or pay the premium for a 0-mile warranty. That places it far below machines like the KTM 690 Enduro R, which may offer more performance, but demand more maintenance and higher ownership costs. The DR650 succeeds by staying simple, serviceable, and incredibly tough. Because when a motorcycle is designed to handle anything, it usually ends up lasting far longer than expected. But that same simplicity can start to feel outdated when riders want smoother highway performance, better efficiency, and a more balanced everyday ride. That gap is what leads naturally to the next answer: a Japanese platform engineered to retain reliability while introducing modern refinement, improved comfort, and true all-purpose usability without a major jump in cost. Number 3, Honda CB500X. Now we are getting close to the top, and this is where the idea of value starts to expand. Because the CB500X is not just affordable, it is capable in a way that changes how you think about ownership. At the center sits Honda's 471 cubic centimeter parallel twin, an engine that has earned its reputation through years of quiet consistency. It does not rush, it does not strain, and it does not ask for constant attention. It simply works day after day, mile after mile. But what elevates this motorcycle is everything built around that foundation. An upright riding position that stays comfortable over long distances, suspension that absorbs broken pavement without complaint, wind protection that makes highway travel feel calm instead of tiring. This is not a city bike pretending to travel. It is a travel machine that just happens to handle daily life with ease. On the used market, 2017 to 2018 models bottom out between $3,200 and $4,000. If you want the 2019 Plus Refresh, which added the 19-inch front wheel, expect to pay between $4,500 and $5,800. With a clean average of $4,800, it stays far below models like the Yamaha MT-07, which demand more without always offering more usable value. Because here is the truth: most riders are not crossing deserts. They are commuting, exploring, and occasionally going further than planned. The CB500X delivers one of the smartest combinations of comfort, efficiency, and long-term durability in the used market. making it an ideal low-budget touring solution, but its conservative power delivery and focus on practicality can leave some riders wanting a more engaging and responsive experience. That desire for something livelier is what pushes the spotlight onto the next machine, a Japanese twin known for its stronger character, sharper throttle response, and the ability to deliver excitement without sacrificing reliability or affordability. Number 2. Yamaha MT-07. Now, we are no longer talking about basic transportation. We are talking about a motorcycle that riders form a connection with. The Yamaha MT-07 has earned that loyalty not through complexity, but through how it delivers its performance every single time you twist the throttle. At its core is a 689 cubic centimeter parallel twin built around Yamaha's cross-plane philosophy. What that really means is this: the engine does not wait. Torque arrives early, builds quickly, and feels immediate without becoming overwhelming. It pulls with purpose from low engine speeds, making everyday riding feel effortless while still delivering real excitement when the road opens up. On the used market, the SV650 is the ultimate hedge against depreciation. For second-generation models from 2003 to 2012, clean examples frequently range between roughly $2,500 and $4,000. The third generation, refreshed from 2017 and up, expect between $4,500 and $7,000. A well-maintained 5-year-old unit at $5,500 is one of the smartest financial moves in motorcycling. That places it far below machines like the Ducati Monster 937, which may offer more premium components, but at a significantly higher cost of entry and ownership. If you've made it this far, you already know this is not just another list, so hit that like button, and if you want to go deeper with us, becoming a member gets you early access to the next breakdowns before they go public. The MT-07 brings energy into the equation with its torquey CP2 engine, lightweight feel, and reputation for being both fun and dependable. But that performance-focused nature also introduces higher stress on components and less emphasis on long-term efficiency and low-maintenance ownership. And that trade-off is exactly why the final step points to the next and ultimate answer. Number 1. Honda NC 750X. And now we arrive at the top. Not the fastest machine, not the most eye-catching, the one that makes the most sense when the miles start to matter. The NC 750X earns this position because it was never built to impress in short bursts. It was engineered to operate in a calmer, more deliberate range, where engines last longer, fuel stretches further, and ownership becomes easier over time. At its core is a 745 cubic centimeter parallel twin, tuned for low revs and steady torque. It does not chase excitement, it delivers consistency. In traffic, on commutes, or stretched across long distances, it feels composed, never rushed, never strained. And then there is the detail that sets it apart: an available dual-clutch transmission that removes the need for constant shifting, turning daily riding into something smoother, almost effortless. On the used market, clean models from 2015 to 2018 typically sell for roughly $3,500 to $5,000. The refreshed 2021 and up models, which are lighter by 11 pounds with sharper styling, fall between $6,000 and $7,500. Against larger machines like the BMW F850 GS, the difference in long-term cost is impossible to ignore, because this Honda is not built around performance. It is built around use, day after day, year after year. So the real question is not which bike is fastest, it is which one you would actually keep. If this video helped you avoid a bad purchase, don't stop here, because most riders still lose money after buying the right bike. The next video breaks down exactly where that happens and how to stay in control of your costs long-term. Click the next video and make sure your next decision is the right one. Hit subscribe, drop a like, and if you want early access to what's coming next, consider becoming a member.